Yeah, hello everybody. Good evening. Yeah, please. I want to be sure you all can hear me, please. So if you can hear me, please, use any of the buttons to react so that we can kickstart the conversation. Thank you. Ataliba, welcome. Ephraim, welcome. Our speaker, welcome. Muju, welcome. All right, thank you very much, Ephraim. Yeah, I would just like to um indulge us to please give us a few seconds so that we can have more people join the conversation. I would like us to please retweet the space details on our timeline so that we can have more people join the conversation. So in less than a minute, we'll kickstart the space. Thank you very much. All right, this is 7:01 p.m. here, so I think we are good to go. All right, so good evening, everybody, once again. Good evening. Welcome to our Twitter space. Yeah, please, I want to be sure we all can hear me, please. Again, so take this as a mic check. So if you can hear me, please use any of the buttons to react, please, so I can know that I'm not talking to myself. All right, thank you so much, everybody. Yeah, so like I said earlier, this is our Twitter space, and so I would just like to really just use the next few minutes to introduce what we do at ProDevs. Then from there we kickstart the conversation. Yeah, welcome everybody. Thank you so much. I can see the reactions. Thank you very much. Yeah, so um, I would like to introduce ProDevs, like I said earlier. So at ProDevs, what we do, we basically we outsource and we recruit talent for startups and founders. And aside that, also we are also involved in software development. And at the moment, I can say and I can boast that we have the largest number of talent pool, yeah, in Africa. We have about 6,000 plus talents on our talent pool. So if you're a startup founder here, or you're a client and you're looking forward to people working with you, please just head on to our website, prodevs.io, and you can sign up and the recruitment team would get back to you as soon as possible. Yeah, so that was necessary, because this is our space. So we need to let you know what we do at ProDevs. Yeah, so that's that about that. Yeah, don't forget to visit our website. And also, if you're a talent here, you're looking for jobs or you're looking for gigs, you can head on to our website, prodevs.io, and you'll be connected or so you can get started. Yeah, so I would like to move on to the next thing on my list, which is to just to briefly talk about the topic for today. So our topic for today is what AI will do to jobs and analysis of Chat GPT. So I know that we all understand. Okay, let me just say that we some of us know, majority of us would understand that AI means artificial intelligence. And over time, there has been several conspiracies that oh, it is AI that would end humans. Some people feel the greatest and craziest innovation that man ever discovered was AI, especially when robots were invented at that time, and a lot of people were like, wow, this thing that people are working on will be the end of you. Yeah, so that's like an application of AI, which is robots. But then recently we had Open AI. Yeah, they are the one that developed Chat GPT. They developed Chat GPT, and it was like the major news then. And what was on the lips of everybody then was, wow, this is going to affect a lot of people. A lot of people said, this is going to lead to a lot of massive layoffs with a lot of tech giants and tech companies. So we decided to come on board and educate people, our audience, on what they need to know about artificial intelligence itself, what they need to know about chat GPT. So it's more like a discussion. It's an avenue for us to learn about what we're talking about today. Yeah, so I think without further much ado, I'd just like to introduce our speaker. So Mr. Orakwe John is our speaker for today, and he's loaded. He's ready to break things down for us. Like I said, if you check the flyer for the space, so he's an AI strategist, and yeah, he's a digital transformation professional with experience in artificial intelligence and machine learning, programs management, business development, and emerging technologies. So I'll just enjoin you to please sit back as we all enjoy this conversation. Yeah, over to you, Mr. John. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Shalom, and good evening to everyone on this space. So, like Shalom has mentioned, my name is Orakwe John, a digital transformation professional. And more recently, the title has changed to AI strategist, right? In response to all of the emerging magic from the world of AI, right? So today we're going to be talking about what AI will do to jobs and analysis of chat GPT. I'd like to take this from a chronological perspective. So we'd look at when ChatGPT launched and everything that it has inspired till date, right? Um so what I say like that, I mean we're going to look at the date it came into the market, the impact it has had so far, and what industry experts expect it to do in the coming days. So to start with, I mean it launched on Wednesday, November 30, 2022. Even though before that time, like before it launched, there was a version of OpenAI's model, that's GPT-3, in OpenAI's playground that could do everything that ChatGPT can do. But they fine tuned the model, that's GPT 3.5. So whenever I say GPT, it's just generative pre-trained transformer, right? So it's a large language model that has been trained on a very big corpus of text. That's you train it with like tons and tons of text, right? Millions of text, billions of text actually, and then it's able to learn the pattern in this text and then give you output that sounds very human, right? So it launched on November 30 of 2022, and we all know that it gained about a million users in 5 days, right? Like in 5 days, it gained a million users. So it launched on Wednesday, and then on Monday the following week it had gained about a million users, right? So compared to like any other platform out there, Instagram got to a million users in 75 days. Spotify did it in 150 days. Facebook did it in about 300 days. So obviously we're looking at something that is at shattering, yeah. So like I mentioned before, OpenAI had the model for Chat GPT, right, in API for about 10 months before actually building Chat GPT itself. So in a recent interview, that's Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, he mentioned that they had the model, right, and they were actually waiting for someone to build it, and they kept telling people that you can actually fine tune our model, right, and build something like this, but nobody did it, and then they went ahead to build Chat GPT, right? So I'm saying this now because when we get to the point where, I mean, I understand most of the people here are founders. When we get to the point where we'll be exploring the opportunities and the things that you can build with Chat GPT, it's very important to have this information at hand, right? So what they simply did with Chat GPT is to build great user experience into GPT 3.5, and then they had Chat GPT, right? So it was launched November 30, and then by December 21, that's Wednesday, December 21, roughly 1 month after, Google declared code red, right? Google declared code red because they could see that this thing was a threat to their existence. I mean, Google search is a $149 billion business, right? So seeing something as straightforward as ChatGPT. So if you search, even though it hallucinates, I mean, we know the limitations of this thing, right? So sometimes you search for certain information and it gives you something altogether, or it makes up references, right? So that's a limitation we all know about. So Google declares a code red on November, that's December 21, because they could see that this is something that threatens their existence. And then by Monday, January 16th, right, just in a matter of 6 weeks, Microsoft announced that ChatGPT is coming to Azure Open AI service. Right, I'm sure that some of you here must have played or built something on Open AI service on Microsoft Azure, right? So they made the announcement on January 16th. That's on Monday. And then, of course, a week after, story broke that they will be investing $10 million into OpenAI. And in fact, this evening or this afternoon, that story was confirmed, and we're now sure that they will be making that investment. Then Friday, January 20, just last weekend, we saw that Google cut 12,000 jobs, right? So they cut 12,000 jobs, and then they started their counter offensive against OpenAI's chat GPT. So it's important for us to just look at what has happened so far when it launched, how Google reacted, how Google is organizing a counter offensive. So it puts everything in context and helps us understand just how impactful this technology is. Yeah. So Google cut 12,000 jobs. They launched a counter offensive, and in fact, Google now plans to launch 20 new AI products this year, right? And in fact, there are plans for them to unveil a new version of Google Search, which will have chatbot features. So Google owns DeepMind. So there have been rumors that DeepMind is going to launch Sparrow. That's their own version of their own version of Chat GPT, right? And in fact, even the original founders of Google, Sergey and Larry, they've been called to, head the response of Google to this ChatGPT phenomenon, right? And I mean, in the industry, people are now scared because it's an arms race as it is, meaning that I mean, before now, people were very skeptical. They try to play it safe, right? So they try to not launch an AI that will come into the market and finish everybody. I mean, if there's a word like that. So right now, it's the gloves are off, right? All of the giants, Google, Amazon, what have you, they are all going to play this game. And I mean, the safety levels are not going to be as they're not going to be as cautious as they were before. So to the question of what would chat GPT do to jobs? So in answering the question, or in trying to answer that question, the best way to look at it would be to look at where professionals are trained. What is ChatGPT doing to education? What is it doing to schools? Right? What is it doing to just anywhere at all that people go to seek knowledge, right? And the one thing that like the one tweet that I saw, I think last week, was a professor who was very angry at OpenAI for what he tagged that irresponsibility, that they launched something into academia which has forced them, or is forcing them, to redesign their entire academic experience, right? So on this question, 2 days ago, something happened at the number one MBA school in the world. That's Wharton Business School. So the operations management course, they applied. I mean, they gave ChatGPT the exam, and it passed with a B and B minus grade. In fact, it outperformed some MBA students at Wharton. Wharton is a school that people pay 120K, right, to get an MBA, but a chatbot that you pay $42 a month. I mean, there's now ChatGPT Pro, which is paid. So, but a chatbot that is $42 per month is now outperforming human beings. So it's calling into question a lot of things, which is, I mean, it extends again to what ChatGPT is going to do to jobs. If a bot can pass an operations management course, it means to a large extent that operation managers, yeah, can almost be replaced, or let's not say replaced. They can be augmented. That's the word. Can be augmented with this bot. And then another exam which ChatGPT has passed is the US medical licensing exam. It passed it yesterday. Yeah. And usually people would have to go to medical school for 4 years and do 2 years of clinical rotation before they pass this exam. But a $42 bot, a $42 per month bot has actually passed this exam, and which is why a lot of things are going to change. Like so many things are going to change. Nobody has an idea yet of how this will transform society. And so what some schools are doing, like the University of Washington University, that is a private university in Washington D.C. What they have done is to issue a circular, and they've told all of their students that since you're going into the professional world, and by the time you're done, it's very likely that it's an AI powered world. Make sure to use as many AI tools as possible. So they're not discouraging them from using Chat GPT. In fact, they're encouraging them and saying, make sure you use this tool as frequently as possible, right? So they have an idea of where the world is going, and they're actually pushing them there. So Chat GPT has not yet passed the bar exam. So the bar exam is the US exam for people who wish to be lawyers. But I mean, there are well rumors that GPT-4, which is an advanced generative model, is actually going to pass that particular exam. But then the reason why I had to give examples of these two exams is these are professional exams that people take and qualify to go into the world. That's the operations course at the top MBA school in the world, and the US medical licensing exam. So if a board has passed this exam, it means that this board can be configured, right? It can be fine-tuned to actually act as a co-pilot, just like how GitHub's co-pilot is an assistant to people who code, right? ChatGPT can be built into virtually a co-pilot for anything, and as we progress, we find out how that can happen. So, what is happening now? Like, what has happened already, and what is actually happening as we speak is there are a variety of tools, right? And some of these tools actually precede ChatGPT. Remember, there was GPT-3 before GPT 3.5. Now, GPT 3.5 is the model that empowers ChatGPT. So the tools which exist now and which ChatGPT can do, you have email assistant. So personally, most of my email responses are crafted by AI. I use early email assistant. So once emails come into my inbox, it prepares a response, and then it's able to. So when I come into my inbox, what all I'm doing is just approving that this message is okay and reflects what I need to say at that particular point in time. And the good thing about this thing is it learns, with each email that you send, right? So email assistants exist now. They are user story generators. So for most of you guys who work in project teams, yeah, before now, you have to spend maybe 4, 5 days working on user stories. Yeah. But with ChatGPT, you can simply just give it the idea, right? You're giving it just the idea for the product, and it gives you the entire user stories, all the stakeholders, everything from A to Z. Right. So there's also code generation. I'm sure most of you have tried it. So if you're writing, I don't know, an application or something, you can ask it for specific codes, maybe basic things for now, not really complex, but you can ask it for code snippets. It gives it to you, and then you plug it into your application. Another thing that I have also tried personally is scripting for product promotion. So I launched an AI strategy guide on January 2nd of this year. So it's for small and medium scale business owners, right? So I launched it this year, and I used an AI avatar to present the application. So the script that I used for that avatar was generated by Chat GPT, and of course business idea generation. And then another thing that I've also used it personally to do is to prospect for the people that I work with. So last Friday, yeah. Okay, Shalom, are you going to say something?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm very sorry to cut you short. Yes, I shared
Uh,
the slide already. Yeah, so please you can just click
okay,
on the dashboard and you can access it as is having the conversation. And yes, please you can get to pen your questions down. You can continue now.
okay, yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So last Friday, so I wanted to sorry, I needed to expand the list of prospects that I work with. So I went to ChatGPT, and the question I asked of the AI was, so I have this strategy guide. These are my services. and these are the current clients that I serve, but I need to expand it. So, and then he gave me a list of other, possible people that I could reach out to business. So he gave me business coaches and strategists in South Africa. So I reached out to about 10 of them just to test if, this new client base that this thing has given me is actually correct. And to my amazement, out of the ten people I reached out to from the new category that this bot had given me, say you work in a business, or let's say you own a startup, or you are a marketing manager or sales manager. This is something that you can always use to do your prospecting. Yeah. So now the example of the email assistant that I gave earlier, McKinsey says, I mean, there's a McKinsey document that says that 28% of the time people spend at work is on emails. Yeah. So if you do the math, it comes to 44.8 hours a month. So people spend roughly 400 hours in a year just checking their emails. By using a simple email assistant, you can help people save, like your own staff, you yourself, you can save roughly 400 hours in a year, right? So if you don't want to use an email assistant, so I understand again that this is a place for founders. Once once ChatGPT AI opens on Azure, that's Azure Open AI service, you can build your own email assistant. So I don't think that there's any email assistant now that serves the Nigerian market or the African market. I think Nigeria, let's say the Nigerian market, yeah. So you can build an email assistant for Nigeria, and then fine tune it using our own local languages. So those are possibilities, yeah. Um, so yeah, another thing you can do with this bot is role playing, right? And if you go to the 10th slide, for those of you who are on the slide, yeah, there's a 10th slide where I've demonstrated how you can make ChatGPT function as a product manager, right? So in this case, I wanted it to function as a product manager, and then I gave it the command, please respond to me as a product manager. I'll ask you for a subject, and he helped me write a product requirement document. So for product managers that write product requirement documents, you do not have to do all that work. Like you don't have to spend 50 hours on a product requirement document. With ChatGPT, you can write a PRD in 30 minutes, like 30 minutes and you're done. So what you'll be doing really is I'm taking out the stuff that you do not need. But once you give you the idea that you're working on, once you give you the stakeholders you're working on, once you give you the roles that are involved in this project, then you're good to go. On that 10th slide, you would also find a link to all of the different roles that you can make Chat GPT play. So the one I told you about initially, where I needed new clients for my consulting gig. And I got, like, 6 people from South Africa indicated interest. So I made it function as a business coach. And then it gave me the responses that I was looking for. So if you're a UI UX guy, if you're a cybersecurity specialist, if you're a web design consultant, if you're a social media manager, you can configure ChatGPT to function as any of those things, and then to give you responses. And remember the example we talked about. Remember the example we gave about Watson, yeah. So if you need an operations manager, this thing is as good as an MBA graduate from Watson, and Watson is the number one business school in the world, right? So this is the level of sophistication we're actually looking at. So again, back to role playing. I don't know how many of you have heard the story, but Code World, that's it's a startup in the US, they've hired two AI interns, right? So the two AI interns working alongside 106 human beings. And truth be told, it will be successful. It will be a successful experiment, and I expect many other people to follow suit. So I mean, the role of the intern I think, is in danger at this point in time, right? So the two AI bots they hired, they call themselves Aiden and Aiko. So Aiden the bot reports to the head of the company's senior editor. He reports to the company's senior editor. Then Aiko reports to the company's senior art director. That Aiko is on the design team. But these are two AI interns, not necessarily um human beings. Yeah. So I mean, and again, at this point, I would say that so ChatGPT, sometimes you check it and it's shut down, or not shut down per se, but it's at capacity. So on that 10th slide, you would also find an alternative. So it's OpenAI's Playground. I don't know how many people have actually used it, but on Playground, everything that ChatGPT does, you can do it there too, and it's mostly always available. Like even when ChatGPT is down, you can always go to Playground and do your stuff, and make it role play and do all the interesting things that you needed to do. So that having said this, it's very important for like for the future. I mean, it's very important for everybody to experiment with these things as much as they can. And I say that because I mean, if you observe, experiments that have been done before now, and the experiment I'll point to is that of Gary Kasparov and Vesely Topalov. So I mean, do not worry about the names, but these are two chess champions. So Gary is a grandmaster, like he's a chess grandmaster, and he's the guy that played against IBM's Deep Blue in 1997. And of course, Deep Blue beat him. So in 1998, there was a repeat experiment where he played against another person, like another chess player who is not as gifted as he was, right? And then both of them used AI to play against each other. And guess what happened? It was a 3-3 draw, right? And before they played that game, that they played human against human, it was 4-0. Gary beats Vesely 4-0. But once they gave them AI, so Gary had AI, Vesely had AI, it was 3-3, which goes to show you that the advantage that any other person out there has, whether it's an operations manager, sales manager, product manager, project manager, if the person is a very great project manager, like he's a rock star employee, yeah, the advantage that person has, once all of your employees or you yourself, you are using AI, that's ChatGPT or whatever. I mean, AI tools are beyond ChatGPT, but the focus here is ChatGPT. But once you're using AI in your work, you are canceling out the advantage that any other person may have over you, because I mean you have this thing that has billions of neural weights within it, and working for you, right? So the axiom, right? The axiom, or not the axiom, and the assumption in AI space is that if you have a weak human being plus machine plus better process, it is superior to when the AI is functioning by itself. And now we're now making the argument for what AI will do in the near term is not necessarily replace people. No, it's more about augmentation, right? Because I mean, we still need to tell this thing what to do, right? And you need to know what to tell it to do, right? So you need to have a process, which is why I say if you have a weak human plus an AI plus a good process, like the person knows this is what I need to do, it is far far better than when the AI is acting by itself, right? And again, if you have a strong human, that's somebody who is like very gifted, and you have the AI, but the process that the person is using to, implement this job is very bad. It is weaker than the first instance of when you have somebody who is not as gifted, but he has an AI and has a very refined process. Okay, this is what you need to do to, get this to work, right? So another thing you can do with ChatGPT is, I don't know how many people use Mid Journey, or you use all of the text to image generators, but you can also use ChatGPT to ask it to generate all kinds of images for you, right? So if you don't know how to do all of those fine art work you see online, like there's a guy, I don't know his name now, but the one who generated cool images of old people, dressed and on the wrong way. So you can use ChatGPT to ask, to give you a prompt that would generate something of that of a similar kind. So we've talked about the professionals and how you can make it role play, and how you can make it function as a product manager or project manager, and how it evens out, the advantages that people, share between themselves. And in fact, how it's not necessarily going to replace people in the near term, but will augment and make everyone a superstar. I think it's also important to state that um, there's a very popular saying now, like a quote you see everywhere, that it is not AI that will replace humans. It is another human being using AI to 10x or 100x their output that will replace other humans who do not know how to use it. So it's in everyone's best interest to play with as many of these tools as possible. So that at that point where, okay, they're looking for rock star AI tool users, right? You are the one who will be counted. So we'll go to the building aspect now, like what you can build with what the things you can build with Chat GPT. And there is an article, although it's not attached here, but I'll place the link here so that in future, when you go to see this slide, you will see everything there. So there are a bunch of things you can build with ChatGPT, from event planning to sales and marketing solutions to advertising, copywriting. I think those are the obvious solutions, to even job boards. Right? So anytime I have to, let's say, apply for a fellowship or any of those things, I don't have to write out the like full cover letter, what have you. So there's this Dubai Business Associate happening later this year. So I did not have to write the cover letter or the reason why I'm interested in the program. I just, copied the details. Okay, this is the program. These are the program details. This is my like a summary of the things I've done so far. Give me a cover letter that is convincing enough, and then he wrote it. So if you go to that slide 13, you'd find all of the different categories of products that you can build with Chat GPT. So, like I said, I will attach a link to an NFX article. NFX is a venture capitalist, so they have a comprehensive list of companies, and in fact, a very super article that I think everyone here should read. Once you read it, you will have a more wholesome understanding of what has happened in the AI space in the last 9 months, especially, right? So the open source guys came into the picture and blew the lead open. So that's how come you hear AI everywhere now. So it all started about 9 months ago. So having said all of these that I've said about how ChatGPT and most of AI is will augment us. If you go to 14, you would find a very important there's a video there actually, so which I think everyone should see. So what you see there is an action-driven large language model. So all of the ChatGPT and all the other AI we've seen so far, they're all prompt driven. So you have to give instructions for it to actually perform an action. But when it comes to action-driven large language model, if you play that video on that slide, it is somebody who told the AI that he's looking for a house. I don't know the location now, but I think it's Houston. He's looking for a house. This is his budget, $600,000, and it's a house for a family of four. Please go and search, for a house for me. And the AI took the action, so it went and did all the search and gave the guy a list of properties that he can actually purchase, given the parameters. In the same vein, what will happen when so these ones are not yet launched, but when they launch, this is the real threat. Like, this is what they call baby AGI, as baby general artificial general intelligence. ChatGPT is still narrow AI. But when action driven large language models come into the picture, what you will get is like a lot of people will be scared at that point, because for all the 1.2 billion knowledge workers in the world, as long as what you do involves manipulating signals on a computer screen, I can tell an AI. So what I need you to do is go to gg.ng or something, and find me the cheapest or the best rated smartphone on there, right? Or maybe code an app that can help me see my children in school or something, that kind of thing. Yeah. So, and it's because of advancements like this that even within OpenAI, there's a department called not what they're called, but their focus is universal basic income. In the event, or in the rare occasion that AI advances to the point where we no longer have to work, like people no longer have to go to offices, how will income be distributed, which is the concept of universal basic income. Yeah. So that's like the presentation in a nutshell. So far we've covered the fact that ChatGPT only launched 54 days ago. Like, this is not an old application. It looks like it has been around forever, but it only came into the picture 54 days ago, right? And already it has created tremendous opportunities for everyone. There are people who are using it to 2x their output, 5x, 10x their output, right? So people are pretty much doing more with less, right? But it's important to know that we've barely scratched the surface. Nothing has actually, like, literally nothing has happened so far. Not A lot of people are building, like, everyone is building. I know so many people who are building incredible stuff, with this thing, right? But you note that the API hasn't even opened. So GPT is the what people are building now is with GPT-3 API, which is on Azure Open AI service. Anyone can access it, right? So there are a bunch of products that you can build on there. And I mean, if you're a professional, the go-to thing, what you must do at this point in time is to use as many AI tools as possible, right? Because like I said, it is not an AI that is going to replace you, but somebody who is using it to maybe triple or 10x or 100x their output. That's who is going to actually replace you. And if you're a builder, so I mean, I speak to CTOs a lot, and I had a conversation on Sunday evening. So the guy said he was around in 1995, 1996 when the internet was just coming into the picture. And he's around now. That he's lucky to have witnessed two great moments in the history of human civilization. But what he sees is that what AI is about to do to the world, there are anything that already exists now can be reimagined. All of the different SaaS companies are looking for ways to integrate, their integrate AI into their products. But there'll be a lot of native AI apps. So from the ground up, they are built with AI, which will come into the picture. And I mean, fortunately, we're all advanced and at that level where we can take ideas and just build stuff. And of course, if you're looking to do MVPs for all of these different AI products, so there are low code, no code solutions like Brancher. Brancher.ai is a very great is a great playground. So it's somewhere that you can plug in as many models as you want. So at this point in time, it's just GPT-3 and DALI that are available on there. But with time, you would have all the models from Hugging Face and all the other different model hosting platforms. So you can play with you can build MVPs on Brancher and all the other low code, no code solutions, and just try these things out. Yeah. So I hope that after all of this, we're able, like, you guys just try and build as many incredible AI solutions as possible. Yeah. So thank you, Shalom. If there are any questions, I think we can talk about the questions now and just have a conversation.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. John, for that wonderful session. Thank you so much for introducing AI to us and Chat GPT. Yeah, so to our audience, please, if you have any question, please do do also please raise your hands and so that I can make you a speaker. But then from my hand here, I would like to ask a question first.
Okay.
We've been talking about the fact that AI will not replace you. Someone using AI will replace you. But then
Mm-hmm.
what's about the case of robotics? I mean robots. You know, in some cases we've had some restaurants using robots to serve food in their restaurants. We have
Yes.
some hospitals using robots to perform surgeries. So in that case, can we say that AI is not replacing anybody, or you get what I'm trying to say? In that regard, I'm saying AI as a threat, not as a tool augmenting the whole process. I don't know if you can shed more light on that. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, fine question. Thank you for asking. So in that regard, robotics is still way behind. So it's not yet at that level where we're having breakthroughs like you have with the large language models. Yeah. So robotics is still maybe 30, 40 years from now, we can start to worry about just how impactful they can be. I mean, you see all the demos from Boston Dynamics and all the other people who are playing in that space, but their technology is not yet there. So what I think can happen is that um the large language models will go really way ahead of them, right? And then eventually when the robots are agile enough and like they can actually fit into society, then their voices, right? The voices of the robots will be these large language models that have really like learned human beings, right? Like they really learned how we work, how we behave, and what have you. So there are models that try to capture human emotions, right? So there's one, I mean, if a friend who's on this space, so he introduced a model which I checked out, and the model has been designed to just reflect how human beings express emotions. If people are angry, if they are whatever emotions they're expressing, it tries to capture it. So robots will have to get to the point where they are able to understand a human being. So there are different kinds of AI, right? So there's narrow AI, there's AGI, that's artificial general intelligence. Then there's theory of mind AI, right? There's theory of mind. We haven't got to that point where we understand a human mind or all of the different arrays of how people express emotions. So robots cannot efficiently or effectively fit into society at this point in time. So when we get to that time, and then we would worry about it. But for now, the if there's any threat, I would say it's action transformers, as action driven large language models. So like I shared on the slide, the way they behave is that you just have to give them instructions and then they go and perform them. So imagine now that I was looking for somebody who should function as operations manager within my business. Yeah. If GPT 3.5, that's ChatGPT, has passed a Watson level course, right? It means that I can effectively hire an AI operations manager that performs as well as somebody from the top MBA school in the world. So that's where the threat is, right? And in that case, I mean, operations managers can worry. And why they will worry is, so one example I would give is people who do translation work, right? So about 5 years ago, when natural language understanding, natural language generation, and natural language processing became something that reached human level robustness. Um, so the thing is, when people go to do translation work, so I go to China and I need to do business, so I can use the AI, even though it's not as efficient as a human being, right? But it gets the job done. It's functional. And then what happened was that people who studied, like foreign languages, started going out of work. They had to upskill or reskill to do something else, right? So the danger is not necessarily in physical work. So what we've seen also is that the prediction was that AI would, take the lower level jobs first, then it will go for the middle skilled workers, and before it goes to the highly skilled people, and then the creative jobs. So what has happened is the reverse, right? So it has gone for the creative jobs first. And I'm sure you've seen all the protests from different artists asking that AI art is not art, right? I mean, I think they're all jokers. So so it has come for the creative jobs first. It's coming for the really complex jobs, and then so it's going in the reverse order. So for people who use their hands to make stuff, doctors, sculptors, and what have you. So those are the ones who I think will be safe in the maybe in the long term, maybe 40 years down the line. I think they'll still be safe, right? But the highly skilled people, right? Maybe that's where the danger is. But like I said, it is not. I mean, AI will not replace people in the near term, but somebody who knows how to use it really well will be the one replacing other people in their domain because they are doing 10x, 100x, what other people are doing.
Wow, thank you so much for the explanation on that. Yeah, I just had to ask that question. Yeah,
All right.
so we have a couple of people that requested the mic. So over to you. I don't. So okay, yeah, Sir Sedmond. Yes, please. You can go ahead to ask your question or make your contribution. Thank you very much. Okay, okay.
Okay, yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah. My question is actually based on my field actually, because I've been trying to search what ChatGPT is all about.
Okay.
So, and you said it has actually come from for the creative jobs and maybe some of these operational jobs. Then you talked about something that you can actually tell it to actually go on and build an application. The question I had on my notes before that was, it does talking about the technical aspect. Can I tell Chat GPT to actually do something like writing a documentation on a particular software and it will actually do it successfully? Or there is a way that yeah, you can actually program it. I don't know how it works presently. Or there's a way that you can actually do it that it actually get your documentation for you in maybe like you want some 5 pages or some kind of 1,000 words. Secondly, Edu, can you hear me? Are you with me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, yeah. Secondly, and going forward, actually, we have novices that people that are curious to learn about these things. Actually, do you have some recommendations on where we can actually go? Because I'm actually a programmer. I have been trying to learn AI, and this chat GPT things I've read online is actually exciting. Thank you.
Mr. John, if you are speaking, I really cannot hear you from this side.
Okay, okay. I think I'm back now. Sorry.
All right.
So I mean, he mentioned that he's a programmer, right? Um, so one of the instances I gave is if you want to write a product requirement document, yeah, you can actually use it to do your PRD, right? Another example I gave is if you're writing user stories for your development, you can use ChatGPT. So you're not spending days doing it. So for every stakeholder, let's say you're building a fintech app and there's a user, there's an admin, and so all of the things that you need the users to do, instead of thinking through the entire process, so you can simply go to ChatGPT and let's say you're building an app that you want to be able to transfer money between Nigeria and the United Kingdom, right? And I mean, whatever parameters that you want, for this app. So you tell it you want this app is to transfer money between Nigeria and the UK, and you want it to have, this advantage. Who are the stakeholders that are going to okay, sorry, let me give you an instance, a project that happened about 3 weeks ago. So a friend in the UK, he reached out and said that he's looking to build an app for care homes, right? Care homes in the UK. But he needs to understand, like how to go about marketing. I mean, I don't live in the UK, so I don't know. It would take a lot of research for me to prepare a marketing plan. So what I did simply was go to ChatGPT and then tell it, okay, we have an app for care homes, like an ecosystem for care homes in the UK. This is the idea. How do we market so that this thing goes out for the least possible cost? And then when I gave it the command, it gave like an outright instruction or just like an outline of everything that we're supposed to do. Reach out to maybe government establishments that sponsor these kinds of initiatives. Reach out to care home owners. Give us the number of care homes in the UK, about 17,000 care homes in the UK. And then also mentioned like a couple of other stakeholders in the ecosystem, right, that we can reach out to. So that's something that I mean I had no idea how to. I would have no idea how to do that kind of project or write that kind of document. But this thing simply just gave me everything I needed, right? And I passed it on to them. They refined it, and they went on their way. So the same thing you can do the same thing with PRDs or any kind of documentation at all, right? So, but the one I use mostly, I mean, day to day is I have a document and somebody says they need a proposal. It has to be 1,500 characters. So I have a LinkedIn page, and then if you're sending a proposal on there, it has to be 1,500 characters. So if I write out everything I need to write, I give it to ChatGPT and ask it to just trim everything down to 1,500 characters without losing the core of the message. So it does it, and I approve that this is fine, and then I send it to who I need to send it to. Yeah. So for any kind of documentation at all, you just need to be able to tell it the exact thing that you need it to do. So prompting is very key. So you have to be very specific about the exact result that you're looking for. And then to your other question of if there are resources that you can check out. So on that document, that's the slide that Shalom shared. I'll attach a couple of links. There are lots of people who share resources about how to make ChatGPT function in any kind of way. So the one you will find on there already is the 500 ChatGPT prompts. So it's on GitHub, right? And it just so the prompts are already there. So once you feed that prompt into ChatGPT, then all you have to do is maybe feed it information. So if you want it to function as a product manager, right? So you can ask it, product management questions. If you want it to function as a project manager, you can ask it, project management questions. So another one I've used personally is as a social media manager. So I will ask it, okay, you're functioning as a social media manager. I need something to talk about on LinkedIn this week, or I need a content calendar. Before now, you spend maybe a week or so preparing content calendars. Well, you can generate a content calendar in 5 minutes for the whole year, right? The whole year, it will tell you the best time to post, it tell you the content, the kind of content to post, and all other things that you can do, right? So just check out the resource, the 500 GPT prompts. It's the link is already there for that one, and then you can just make it role play as anything that you not anything, but as a lot of the professional things that are available at this point in time.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. John. Yeah, before
All
we
right.
move forward, please, I would like also to please follow our social media page. Yeah, if you are not following us yet, please do want to follow us. We have beautiful stores and mind blowing events in the future for you all. So please do want to follow us, and you can turn on post notifications so that you can be aware anytime we have new tweets and new posts. And not just on Twitter alone, please, on other social media platforms. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, and we're on Instagram. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, so Samuel, over to you for your question. And yes, please, if you have any question, you have any contribution to the conversation, please request for the mic. I will make you a speaker. Yeah, over to you, Samuel.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Orakwe. That was a very insightful and rich slide and discussion of the slide. Yeah. So my name is Samuel Anyaile. One of the hats I wear is CTO for a website called igetbele.com, and on that website, one of the things that we okay, so the whole idea is to build robots that are able to replace people, asking specific questions about pregnancy, and the questions will not just be about medical questions. It would span into fashion questions. As far as it's related to pregnancy, we are building different robots that will do FAQs, that would do reminders, that will do recommendations. So before now, the I use Dialogflow as the basis for tying in the NLP functionality, the natural language processing functionality of the robot, such that Dialogflow is owned by Google, of course, so such that all inquiries by users are understood based on the interpretation of the question and deciphering what the intent behind the question is before providing a possible solution. One of the things that we're currently doing is trying to tie in to replace Dialogflow with ChatGPT. That's one of the things that we're actually currently doing for the FAQ robot, at least. So it's valid. A lot of the things that you've said. It's also valid some of the worries that that you also think that people would have or have. But one of the things I have learned from experience is that robots like that are built on or are made intelligent by models. Now, we know that the OpenAI robot has been pre-populated by millions of different sources of inputs before it got to this level of intelligence. Unfortunately, inherently, chatbots are a lot of one-directional. A lot of the communications are one-directional, where people are coming to seek opinions, yeah, and most likely are not coming to add or increase the value of the robot. They are only coming there to seek the value that the robot brings on board. So you end up the robot ends up being forced to either use the education it's receiving from manipulative players, because manipulative players know that they can influence the they can influence the robot in certain ways by suggesting things based on the responses the robot has given them, and then trying to change the robot's mind on certain things. Most average users wouldn't be doing that. And so the robot is likely going to get to the point where there's a lot of bias, there's a lot of wrong suggestions that might come into play, which would still require that whoever is consuming that content, even with all of the prompts that are recommended, should be a professional, so that you're able to weed out a lot of the nonsense that might creep in into the responses that you are getting from the robot. For example, you seek maybe you're a Node.js guy, and you seek a Go implementation of a feature, or a Go implementation of a particular script, and you're giving a Go implementation of that script. However, you're not a Golang person, and then you take that functionality, you test it, it runs successfully. But unfortunately, you might be dealing with some semantic errors within that code that you wouldn't know because you are not a Golang person. So in the end, as much as it's likely that it would give you an edge, it's important for you as a person who is using AI as an augmenter, to know what he or she is doing, so that when that information is vomited to you, you can go through that information and ensure that the information you are giving is valid information, especially when you're talking about medical things and legal things, which are like life-changing one sentence, for example, in the legal parlance. So those are some of the things that you need to be aware of, even coming into that game and trying to onboard AI. As much as AI will help you with a lot of the structures to begin with, you need to vet whatever it is the AI is bringing to the table. So at least from the point of view of, would it replace us? The fact that the models it continuously has to be trained. That's one of the things I like about the fact that we are encouraging people to use it. The biases that a lot of the bots hitherto had is the fact that there is not a lot of models that are generated from us in this part of the world to educate the robots that are being used. For example, there's a lot of reports on some AI not recognizing facial recognition, for example, some AI not recognizing black faces, just based on the fact that it wasn't trained with the model of enough black faces to recognize that a black face is a face. So being able to add, encourage Africans to be part of that communication or part of that interaction, I think is a good thing that this kind of platforms exist, so that we can be part of the conversation that kind of influences the AI, so we are not left in the incognito mode when a lot of businesses kind of adapt AI in the long run. Also, I think in the models that would continuously be uploaded by the owners of this AI, the models would generally, I believe, will be taken from the World Wide Web, for example. Contents that will be uploaded will be taken from random places. So also creating content, video content, text content, wherever it is the content is in, on the web, irrespective of whether it's tied to the AI or not, it's a great way for you to ensure that somehow your content is also picked as part of the things that that the AI is using to train itself to answer people's questions. So generically, I just want to like say kudos to you guys, but in the long run for the professionals, remain professional, use AI, but remain professional so that you do not regurgitate what is being sent to you by the AI, but to just use the AI as an enabler, which is what it is meant to be. There are bigger fears in the future, I believe, about replacements using AI outputs to make decisions. For example, enabling AI, weaponizing, for example, AI driven what's called AI driven military bots, for example, deciding, okay, based on the AI, I can say I know you enough, I know some of your activities enough to say you are a bad guy, and so I'm making the decision to terminate you because I think that you're a dangerous person. Those kind of powers, I think down the line, those are the things that we'll be worried about. But for now, this particular chat AI, we should use it properly. Sorry for taking so much time to talk about this.
Okay, that's fine. So somebody raised a concern. So Uche Powers, he was saying ChatGPT is a brand and we shouldn't talk about it too much. We should speak more on the technology. So the good thing is that there are options. There are alternatives to ChatGPT, which will come online in a matter of months. So there is Anthropic AI. So they have Cloud. Cloud is like just the same as ChatGPT. It's a chatbot based on a large language model. So it's going to be something. I think it will launch before Q1 ends, and then we know that DeepMind is working on Sparrow. So these are all different options. It's a good thing they are all open source. So there's not going to be a monopoly of technology like Uche fears, right? So just give that time, and then you see all of the different options. But then again, I mean, AI is more than these chatbots based on large language models. So you can build a wide range of interesting applications. So if you go to Hugging Face, right? I don't know how many people know Hugging Face, but on there you have models that can do many more interesting things. So there's text to music, there's picture to music. So I mean, any kind of application you can imagine, any kind of manipulation you want to do with data, whether it's text data or music data or just pictures, right? You can do it. So do not, I mean, as much as we're talking about ChatGPT and large language models, there are other kinds of models that you can play around with and see what you can build.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. John. Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. Yeah, I think I liked where Mr. Samuel stopped about the fact that you should use AI, but then you should still remain professional. Don't be outdated, and because you feel there is a technology that would, augment what you are doing, and you just decide to just do whatever you are supposed to do shabbily. Yeah, remain professional in whatever career you've decided to follow. Yeah, we are gradually moving to the end of the space, and I think I don't know, but then we might have some people that might be interested in pursuing a career in AI here. So, Mr. John, in let's say a minute or two, can you just um talk to people like that and how they can kickstart their career path in AI? Thank you very much. Sorry, if you are speaking, Mr. John, I cannot hear you, please.
Okay, sorry. It keeps muting. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay, so to that question, so I'm a non-technical person, right? But I'm an AI strategist. So what I do day to day is I look at whatever models exist out there in the world, and I mean I also look at AI tools and see how they to solve these business problems, or if the tool that exists cannot solve that particular problem, whether it's object recognition or maybe language problem or sentiment analysis. So what I do is you just find a way to build these solutions for different businesses around the world. So for the non-technical people, there are different roles now that exist. So there's an AI strategist role, there's an AI educator role. So an AI strategist is what I do day to day. There's an AI educator role. So the educator is someone who knows as many models that exist out there in the world. You may not know all of them, but you know like the important ones that you can use to solve as many business problems as possible, right? So you have a subject matter expert. So a subject matter expert would be someone, say like the example that Uche, was it Uche? Sorry, Samuel gave. So if you're trying to build something that works in a medical space, right? So you will need people who are medical professionals to give you their own domain expertise, right? Which you now use to train this model, which you use to fine tune the model. You're not training it from scratch. You're only fine tuning the model. Right? So when ChatGPT's API is available, what people will be doing is not training the model again. They're just fine tuning the model using proprietary data, right, to make it function in a particular way. So apart from, so these are just a few non-technical rules. And if you're in the technical space, then you're building the actual, you're a data scientist, yeah. You're cleaning the data, you're training the model, you're tuning the hyperparameters and making sure that the model is not overfit or underfit. All of those data scientist things, yeah. So I would add because I have a bias towards the non-technical people. So I will add an extra slide to the slide you're seeing now. So it's from Emerge. Emerge is the leading AI research company, right? So I will add that slide. It shows you all the non-technical AI roles that exist at this point in time, right? There's an article that also shows you what the role entails and what you can do in that given role, right? So and the it's still morning time, yeah. It's still early days in AI space. So if you get in now, yeah, GPT-4 hasn't come in. Google is in code red. They say they're going to launch 20 AI products this year. So you need experts for the 20 new Google products that will be launched in 2023. You need people who know how to manipulate multimodal LLMs. So GPT-4, which will launch at some point this year, is multimodal, which means that it's not just text that you can generate from there. You have text, you have audio, you have video, you have audio, like a bunch of different things. So you need people who know how to use these things to solve business problems. That's the important part, because AI is not used for the sake of AI. You use it to solve real world problems. And for as many people who need to transition, so this whole term digital transformation, we are now in the like hyper automation phase. Right? That's what the people like Gartner say. This is the year of hyper automation. So anything that can be automated will be automated, and then you need people who will drive all of these different processes. So like I promised, um, when you check that slide in the next 1 hour, you would see an additional slide where you have all the rules that you can do in AI now. Like there are seven of them, seven non-technical rules you can do in AI, and how you can actually get started in all of those different positions. And for the technical people, at this point, if you want to start to build a model, you literally have to understand, statistics, um, uh, Python. Like it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot, right? And all the different libraries I used to build, Keras, PyTorch, TensorFlow is old, so that's no longer in use, right? So, but for now, what I would advise is just check for all of those non-technical positions, and then some of them require you to actually know, right? So if I see a model being trained, if I see a model that is overfit, underfit, I know, and then I can advise the data scientist to maybe adjust whatever parameters need to be adjusted, right? So just check the slide in 1 hour. You will see the information that you need concerning the roles in AI and how you can get into them. Then somebody also asked for extra resources. So I will also add another slide that has extra resources so that you have as much as you need to get started. If you wish to start building, right? If you want to build, ChatGPT is open. The API will be open very soon. Like it will be on Azure Open AI service very soon. It's not yet available. So if you're building anything now, you're using GPT 3, right? Which is what everybody has used to do their own thing. But if you need to build, I'd say okay, wait till 3.5. That's ChatGPT's API is open, and you can start building your own stuff, whether it's an email assistant or user story generator, or you want to fine tune maybe to Nigeria's legal system. I don't know how many people know Daro.ai. So Daro is an Israeli startup, but in the US, right? So what Daro does is that they use GPT-3. It's based on GPT-3. They use it to search for legal cases online. So they have crawlers that go to Twitter, they search through different documents online, they search through social media and the entire internet. And whenever they discover a legal infringement or a possible legal infringement, they alert whoever is using it, most cases law firms, and tell them, I've spotted an infringement. It also gives them advice on this is how you approach this case, these are your chances of winning this case, and what have you. So if you're looking for things like that, just give it some time. The API will be open soon, and then you can build whatever you need, and then check back in 1 hour for all the non-technical rules on how to get into them.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. John, for that. So you heard him clearly. If you're looking to pursuing a career in AI, whether technical role or a non-technical role, please do to follow what he said, and please check the document I pinned to the dashboard. Yes, we intend to end the space by 8 actually, but then we are 10 minutes past that time frame. But then I can see the Moreni KG. I don't know if you probably have a question or a contribution, please go ahead with what you want to say, and Mr. John would talk about
Hi,
that. Yeah, over to you.
hi everyone. Good evening. Thank you, speaker. Thank you very much. I just wanted to ask if you could share the non-tech roles for AI. But I think you already mentioned something about that. All right.
Yes, he did. But then, for sake of emphasis, I don't know if that will possible in the next 1 minute. Can you help us run through that, Mr. John, in a minute? Thank you.
Okay, so my own role, right? So what I do is AI strategy and AI education. So like I talk to C-level people. So there's what you call AI fluency, right? So most people do not know, like they don't know what a model is, they don't know what hyperparameters are, they don't know what maybe underfit or overfit is, right? So by as an AI educator, what you're doing is educating C-level people and telling them, what AI is and what they should expect. In fact, an AI project is not like a regular IT project. So it's not plug and play. You do not build a model. You don't say you're going to build a model in 3 weeks and then in that 3 weeks is ready. No. So there are many like you have to do a lot of tuning before you get what you want, right? And then again, I mean, there are other considerations like even checking the data and if it's high quality, if it's quality enough, and if you even have sufficient data to pursue the project. So as an AI educator, that's your role. You have to understand all of the different positions, like all of the different things that it takes to run a successful AI project. There's a subject matter expert. So if you are in the medical space and somebody's looking to build AI for diagnosing healthcare people, like you are the one who would know what's let's say a an image that shows that somebody has cancer or whatever disease there is. You can read that image, so you're the subject matter expert, and then you can help in a healthcare project. So there's a strategist. A strategist is so you look at business problems and then you look at all the available AI models that there are. So beyond OpenAI's GPT-3, DALI 2, there are many kinds of other models. If you go to huggingface.com, you find a ton of models. So you as a strategist will think, okay, if we're building, let's say, a contact center, if you want to, let's say you want to automate MTN's contact center, you need three different models, right? So you need a model that converts speech to text, right? You need a model that can be able to read human emotions. Then you need another model that will convert text to speech, right? So you are the strategy. So you figured out this is what you need, right? Then you now look for maybe the talent, the ML ops, the ML operations talent that will fit it all together, and then help you put that into operation, right? So I've mentioned three, but there are four. There are four other non-technical roles that I mean I can't recall them now. But like I promised, just check the slide in next 1 hour. You would find an infograph that points you to all of them and what they do, their functional roles, and then a link to an article that explains in detail what you'll be doing in all of those different roles.
All right, thank you so much for that, Mr. John. Yes, I think with that we can gradually end the conversation. But then before we finally leave, like I said earlier, please do all to follow us across our social media pages and turn on post notifications so that you can be notified anytime we drop new tweet or new post. And that's that about that. And one of the things that we've decided to be committed to this time around is um talking about trends in tech. Yes, so that would imply that come next month, we are coming with another speaker in another field of tech that will be coming around to share his or her knowledge with us in another area. Yeah, we are looking at blockchain. Yes, so if you are a blockchain enthusiast or you are just a lover of blockchain, please do all to stick around and next month you would see who our speaker is and what the topic is. Yeah. And once again, I think I would just like to introduce what we do at Produce for everybody. Like I said, we recruit, we outsource, and we also develop softwares. So if you are a client or if you are a founder of a startup on this conversation and you are in need of talent, tech talent to help you work or to help you work on a gig or to help you work for your company, please do or to visit our website prodevs.io, and from there we kickstart the conversation. I would like to wish everyone please do also have a wonderful night rest and enjoy the rest of your night. Yeah. Bye bye.
All right, brilliant.